This is the Draw My Life, the Lumen Claire edition, which is me. So in 1987, in the city of Alexandria in the so wonderful state of Virginia, and that's a horrible drawing of Virginia, by the way, and Alexandria is not located there. A Bahamian black guy ended up meeting this Filipino lady, and they made a love child, and it was me. But they didn't get along, and so they basically split up. And at one point, my mother ended up taking me to the Philippines away from my dad. And there, I just remember us moving from house to house to house to house until my dad was able to rescue me. And this is my last. I just remember him standing in the doorway, and it was like, oh. And that was the last time I actually saw my mother when he took me away from the Philippines. So then it was just me and my dad until he married my stepmother, who had 3 other kids who were actually really older than me. But at that point in time, that was our family. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of stuff. I was a safety patrol. I used to sing in the choir. I played the violin. I played the clarinet. I was on the morning broadcast system. I was really, really happy and outgoing. But then in 1999, my dad decided that he wanted to move back home, and that home for him was the Bahamas, and that became our home too. When we moved there, it was a culture shock. I had to wear a school uniform. People had different accents. They would always call me Chinese. I was mad until I was like, you know what, shut up. And I ended up adjusting and even getting me a little boyfriend. When I was younger, I wasn't allowed to watch TV like that, so I just read, and I would write, and I would sing, and I would fantasize about me being famous one day, always. I always felt like I was in a jail cell. I wasn't allowed to hang out with anybody except for my friends, Nikita and Sasha, and that was only because Nikita's mom and my mom were like best friends at one point, and so I was allowed to hang there because they were basically like family. And it would be me, Nikita, and Sasha, and her little brother, who we would hate to be around us at the time, but their mom used to make him hang out with us, and but eventually, it was a good time until Nikita and Sasha ended up going to boarding school. I was like, wait, what? Until 2003, I ended up involuntarily being moved to North Carolina to finish school. And I tried to keep up with my friends the best that I could on Yahoo Messenger and High Five because, Facebook was not, I don't even know if it was invented back then. I went to North Mecklenburg High School, and I just remember feeling so small, and the school was so big, especially compared to back then. So at one point, me and my mother and father, just to shorten it, we had a huge, falling out. We basically fought so much and broke up, and I was definitely alone at one point at 17. Until I had found this photography classes, and that led me to look into art schools for college, and I ended up going to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale after I graduated in 2005 for video production, and I literally only picked that because I thought that it sounded cool, but I actually ended up loving it, so I was very lucky. I moved down to Fort Lauderdale. That is where I met my best friends of all time. We have just went through so much together. We had so much fun, and I consider them as my sisters, most definitely. I also ended up meeting the love of my life at that one point. We went through so much together. There was even a point where I was really sick in the hospital for 2 weeks and stuck in Atlanta, and he had flown up to see me, and he had school and he had work, and that kind of made our love a lot stronger. So in 2009, when he decided that he wanted to move back up to Virginia, he was from Virginia too, so that's why we were like, oh, it's meant to be. When he decided to move back up to Virginia, I decided to move my life up there too. And when we moved up there, I actually found out I wasn't in love with him anymore, and we broke up, and it was simple at first, and it just got really, really messy, but then it was over, and at one point I felt lonely, and I was just like, what the hell am I doing up here, yo? And I grew a strong hate for Virginia. But luckily, in school, I ended up meeting four guys of all time. I love them. They are like my brothers. They were my best friends, and they actually resemble each of my best friends that I had down here. Like, each of them would remind me of the best friends that I had that are girls down here, who are my sisters. So they, of course, are my brothers. For a while, I worked at Carrabba's. It's like the longest job I've ever kept. I was a server. I hated it, but I met the most supportive people there, and we just didn't care about anything other than having fun after work. In 2010, I graduated, and I didn't have a job. I just worked at Carrabba's. I didn't have a real job, and I ended up having just an awesome summer with so many memories. It was the best summer of my life. I'll never forget that. So then eventually I ended up leaving Carrabba's, and I got a job at a firm in DC doing video production, and I was able to work with the most talented people ever that I've known, and we grew an awesome bond. I learned so much, and even though we're not together now, I still see us as the creative team. But at the job, I was I started becoming unhappy. I worked so much that I was losing my hair and really sleep deprived. And in 2012, I ended up getting laid off anyway. So I was actually pretty happy about that, because I wanted to leave jobs anyways. But then I was looking at job search, and I was trying to figure out what I would look for, and I realized I didn't want to do a job dealing with video that I would hate again, because it really tainted something that I love. I love doing video. So I was kind of just stuck. I didn't really know what to do. So I started serving again at Carrabba's, and then I just felt like the tiger from the Cat Williams, thing where the tiger's like, am I really a tiger? I don't really feel like a tiger. Well, that's how I felt. I felt like, am I really an artist? I don't feel like much of an artist. What am I? And then I started thinking, and I was like, the part where I was really happy was when I was in Florida, and I've always stated how much I hated Virginia. And I was just like, you know what? I should just go back down there. So I packed up my little Mitsubishi, and I said, bye, y'all. And I left and moved down to Florida. And I made a couple of stops down the way. I stopped in Atlanta to holler at my girl, and Destin, and Tallahassee. And I actually made it to Miami, not Fort Lauderdale. And I've been here ever since. So I'm trying to do what I love to do the most, which is making videos. And that's also why I just started my YouTube channel, so that I can do videos of anything that I want. Through my life, I've learned that family is not limited to blood, but loyalty. And I saw that from somebody's Instagram, but I thought it was so true, because I've met so many people, and even though I prayed for brothers and sisters to play with when I was younger, I realized that it's not that I didn't have them. It was just that I hadn't met them yet. Because I've found siblings in every state that I've been to, and every school that I've moved to, and who knows what's in store for the future. I know that society and people tell you what you should be doing with your life to be normal, but I've never been normal, and I'm trying to learn right now to forget about what people tell you should be doing, and just to pursue what makes me happy. This world seems to tell you that you have to be stressed out and suffering to be able to be successful, but if you really do what you love doing, then you don't ever have to work a day in your life. And life is too short to spend it miserable, so I don't know what's in store for me next, but I know that each step I take now is just one that's going to bring me closer to being happy. And that's the end, or should I say, beginning. Don't forget to subscribe, you guys, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.